All right, so today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting mixed numbers, okay? Now, earlier we have talked about adding and subtracting fractions, just regular proper fractions. And the most important thing that we said that we needed to do in order to add or subtract is our denominators have to be the same. We want to find what's called the least common denominator. It's going to work the same way with mixed numbers. We just have a few extra steps that we have to go through in order to get our final answer. So very first thing that you want to do is if I have a problem like 4 3/5 plus 2 1/2, the first thing that I want to do is I want to focus and add or subtract what we call the fractional parts first. That means kind of ignore the whole numbers for a second and let's just focus on those fractional parts. So I have 3/5 and 1/2. Right now, they do not have common denominators, but the least common denominator of 5 and 2 is going to be the denominator 10. So I know that 5 times 2 would give me 10, so 3 times 2 is going to give me 6/10. So this is the same thing as 4 and 6/10 plus 2 times 5 would give me 10, and 1 times 5 would give me 5. So 4 and 6/10 plus 2 and 5/10. So I can now focus on these fractional parts. So I have 6 plus 5 would give me 11, and my denominator stays the same, so it's 11/10. Now 11/10 is an improper fraction, so I need to simplify. I can't leave it as an improper fraction. I need to simplify this to be a mixed number. So 10 goes into 11 one time, and I have 1/10 left over, okay? Now the next thing I'm gonna focus on is adding or subtracting all of the whole numbers. So I have 4 was a whole number from the original problem. 2 was a whole number from the original problem, but by adding those fractional parts, I created another whole number of 1. So I have 4 plus 2 plus 1, which would give me 7 and 1/10. Okay, now 1/10 is already as simple as I can get, but that final step would be to put my answer in simplest form, but we already have it in simplest form. So let's try a few more examples. I have 2 and 5/6 plus 3 and 1/12. So I'm going to focus on those fractional parts first. They do not have a common denominator, but the least common denominator of 6 and 12 is going to be the number 12. So I need that 6 times 2 will give me 12. So 5 times 2 gives me 10 out of 12. Plus, I get to leave 3 and 1/12 alone because it has that least common denominator. So I'm going to add now my fractional parts together. So I have 10 plus 1 gives me 11 out of 12. And that's a proper fraction that can't be simplified, so I'm good to leave it alone. Now I'm going to add or subtract. I'm going to add my whole numbers. So 2 plus 3 would give me 5. And 5 and 11/12 is as simple as I can get, so I'm going to leave it alone. Moving on to 3 and 7/10 minus 1 and 1/4. My fractional parts do not have common denominators, but the least common denominator of 10 and 4 is going to be the denominator 20. So I know that 10 times 2 will get me to 20. So 7 times 2 gives me 14. 4 times 5 gets me to 20. So 1 times 5 will give me 5. So I'm going to focus on those fractional parts. So I have 14 minus 5 gives me 9/20. Can't simplify 9/20. So now I'm going to focus on the whole numbers. 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. So I get a final answer of 2 and 9/20. I'm going to skip down just a little bit and let's go to 2 and 3/4 minus 1/8. Okay, right now my fractional parts 4 and 8 do not have a common denominator, but the common denominator for them is going to be the number 8. So I know that 4 times 2 gets me 8. 3 times 2 would give me 6. Minus, and then I get to keep 1/8 the same. So focusing on those fractional parts, 6 minus 1 gives me 5/8. And there's only one whole number here, so it just is going to remain 2. That would be like 2 minus 0. So 2 and 5/8. Our last one, 6 2/3 minus 2 3/18. The common denominator between 3 and 18 is going to be the number 18. So 3 times 6 gets me to 18. So 2 times 6 would give me 12. So this is 12/18 minus 2 3/18. So 12 minus 3 is going to give me 15/18, which can be simplified. They're both divisible by 3. So 15 divided by 3 would give me 5. 18 divided by 3 would give me 6. And then focusing on my whole numbers, 6 minus 2 gives me 4. So I get 4 5/6.